Imagine this. You're walking out of a grocery store. Bags in hand, keys in your pocket. The parking lot is ordinary. Nothing feels wrong. Then, two men in tactical vests step toward you. No police car, no lights, no sirens. One of them says 4 words. "Can I see your ID?" Your stomach drops. Your hands go cold. Every instinct you have says, just hand it over. And that moment, that exact frozen second, is where most people hand over rights they never knew they had. Because here's what no one taught you before today. You were not required to answer. You were not required to hand over anything. And the fact that they asked does not mean the law was on their side. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what the law says, exactly what your rights are, and exactly what words to use. Whether you are a citizen, a green card holder, a visa holder, or undocumented, I'm going to walk you through your exact legal rights, what ICE can do, what ICE cannot do, what you should say, what you should not say, and the one mistake that destroys cases every single time. Let us get into it. ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is a federal agency operating under the Department of Homeland Security. Their primary job is civil immigration enforcement and certain federal crimes like human trafficking and drug smuggling. Here's the critical question. Does ICE have the same authority as your local police? The short answer is no, not exactly. Local police have general police powers. They can detain you for any suspected criminal violation. ICE agents operate primarily under federal civil immigration law. That distinction matters enormously, especially when it comes to ID requirements. Here's what shocks most people. There is no federal law requiring you to carry identification at all times. None. Zero. However, there are critical exceptions that depend entirely on who you are. So listen carefully, because this is where most videos get it wrong. If you are a United States citizen, you are not required to carry ID in most circumstances. You can state your citizenship verbally, but you're not required to prove it on the spot in most public encounters. If you're a green card holder, federal law requires you to carry your green card at all times and present it to an immigration officer on request. This is one situation where the law does require you to show ID. Know this before the moment happens. If you're on a valid visa, carry your passport with your visa stamp. Be prepared to show proof of lawful status, especially in border regions. And if you're undocumented, you have constitutional rights that apply to every single person on United States soil. The 4th Amendment and the 5th Amendment protect you. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right not to consent to searches. You have the right to speak to an attorney. Now let's build the legal foundation, because your rights are not opinions, they are the law. The 4th Amendment protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures. And here's what most people don't realize. Demanding your ID without legal justification can itself be an unreasonable seizure. The Supreme Court case Terry v. Ohio, decided in 1968, established that law enforcement may briefly stop a person only if they have reasonable, articulable suspicion of criminal activity. Not a feeling, not an appearance, actual facts they can put into words. That standard applies to ICE agents, too. Then, INS versus Delgado, 1984, immigration agents conducted factory surveys, asking workers for documents. The Supreme Court drew a critical line. Mere questioning in a public place does not automatically equal a detention. But if a person is not free to leave, that's a detention. And detentions require legal justification. Then, Hibble versus Nevada, 2004. This is the one most people misunderstand. The court ruled that in states that have stop and identify laws, and roughly half of states do, police can require you to state your name during a lawful stop. Just your name. Not your immigration status, not your documents. And critically, only if the stop itself is lawful. If the stop is not lawful, you don't have to say anything. If you're in a state without a stop and identify law, you're not required to state your name either. Then, Payton versus New York, 1980, the court was crystal clear. Law enforcement cannot enter your home to make an arrest without a warrant signed by a judge, not an administrative form, a warrant signed by a judge. And the most recent shift you need to know, in 2025, the Supreme Court stayed an order that had limited ICE enforcement tactics. In a concurring opinion, one justice noted that apparent ethnicity could be one factor among several in establishing reasonable suspicion. This does not mean ICE can stop anyone based on ethnicity alone. Racial profiling as the sole basis remains unconstitutional, but the enforcement landscape has shifted, which is exactly why knowing your rights precisely, not approximately, matters more than ever. The Fifth Amendment also applies here directly. You have the right to remain silent. Answering questions about your immigration status, your birthplace, or how you entered the country, those are statements that can and will be used against you in immigration proceedings. That right applies to every person on United States soil, regardless of status. Now let's get specific. What can ICE legally do, and what can they not do? ICE can approach you in a public place and ask you questions. That alone is not a detention. You are free to walk away calmly if you have not been told you're being detained. ICE can arrest you if they have a judicial warrant signed by a federal judge or if they have probable cause of a federal crime. ICE cannot stop and detain you solely based on your race, your ethnicity, or your national origin. ICE cannot enter your home without your consent or a judicial warrant. ICE cannot compel you to answer immigration questions without legal basis, and ICE cannot punish you for asserting your constitutional rights. Now here's something most people don't know. There are two completely different types of warrants. A judicial warrant is signed by a federal judge or magistrate. It has a court seal. It contains your correct name and address. It authorizes entry into your home. An administrative warrant is an internal ICE agency document signed by an ICE officer, not a judge. It has no court seal, it has not been reviewed by any court, and it does not authorize entry into your home. This distinction has kept people out of detention facilities. Learn it before you ever need it. Now here are your exact scenarios, the words you can use right now. Scenario 1. An ICE agent approaches you on the street and says, "Can I see your ID?" You say, "Am I being detained, or am I free to go?" If they say you are free to go, walk away calmly. Do not run, do not argue, just leave. If they say you are detained or give no clear answer, you say, "I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I would like to speak with an attorney." Scenario 2, the agent says, "We just need to ask you a few questions." You say, "I respect your job. I'm not answering questions without an attorney present." Polite, firm, done. Scenario 3, the agent asks, "Are you a citizen?" You say, "I'm not answering questions about my immigration status without an attorney." Do not say yes, do not say no. Both answers carry legal consequences. Silence carries none. Scenario 4, the agent says, "We have a warrant." You say, "I would like to see the warrant, please." Then look carefully. Is it signed by a judge? Does it have a court seal? Does it have your correct name and address? If it is an administrative ICE form and not a judicial warrant, you say, "This does not appear to be a judicial warrant. I do not consent to entry." Then close the door. Stay inside. Call an attorney. Scenario 5. An agent knocks on your door. You do not have to open it. Speak through the door. Say, "Do you have a judicial warrant? Please slide it under the door." If they cannot, you do not open that door. Scenario 6. You are a legal gun owner in your vehicle. Keep your hands visible. Move slowly. Speak first. Say, "Officer, I want to be transparent. I am a licensed firearm owner. I have a firearm in the vehicle. I have my carry permit. I am not answering additional questions without an attorney." Every word matters here. Calm, slow, hands visible, throughout. Scenario 7. You are a naturalized citizen being questioned. You say, "I am a United States citizen. I have the right to remain silent. I am not answering further questions without an attorney." You do not owe anyone your immigration history. Now, the one mistake that destroys cases: talking. That is it. That is the mistake. People talk. They want to explain themselves. They think that if they just tell the agent the whole story, their job, their family, how long they have been here, their children who are citizens, the agent will let them go. I understand that impulse completely. But legally, it is devastating. Everything you say can be used in your immigration case. You may accidentally confirm information the agent didn't already have. You may make statements that contradict your later legal filings. You may waive rights you didn't even know you had. Immigration attorneys spend enormous time trying to undo the damage from those first few minutes because their clients talked. Silence is not rude. Silence is not guilt. Silence is your legal right and your strongest protection. And one critical warning: do not lie to a federal agent. Making false statements to a federal officer is a separate federal crime. It can instantly convert a civil immigration matter into a criminal one. You can stay silent. You cannot lie. Those are your two options. Choose silence. And do not physically resist. Even if you believe the stop is unlawful, assert your rights verbally. Fight it in court, not on the street. Physical resistance leads to criminal charges that will complicate everything that follows. Two more things almost no one tells you. First, in a public space, you have the right to record your interaction with a federal agent. You do not need their permission. If it is safe, start your camera before you say a word. Say clearly, "I am recording this interaction." That recording may become your most important piece of evidence. Second, the moment you are safe, write everything down. Time, location, agent names and badge numbers of visible. Every word they said, every word you said. Text it to someone you trust immediately. That timestamp matters in any legal challenge. Your memory fades. A time-stamped message does not. If you believe you were stopped without reasonable suspicion, contact an immigration attorney or civil rights organization within 24 hours. Now, if ICE does detain you, here's what follows. You will typically be transported to a detention facility for processing. You have the right to contact a lawyer. You have the right to a hearing before an immigration judge where you can present your case. Unlike criminal court, the government is not required to provide you a free attorney in civil immigration proceedings, but you absolutely have the right to hire one. The single most important thing you can do if detained is say clearly, "I want to speak to a lawyer before I say anything or sign anything." Do not sign any documents you do not fully understand. Some people are pressured into signing agreements that permanently affect their ability to return to the United States or apply for future immigration benefits. Do not sign. Ask for an attorney first, every time. Here's what I need you to carry out of this video. Your rights are real. They exist in writing. They have been upheld by the Supreme Court of the United States, and they apply to every person on this soil, regardless of status. Ask first. Am I being detained or am I free to go? Invoke clearly. I am invoking my right to remain silent. I want to speak to an attorney. Never lie. Silence is your right. False statements to a federal officer are a federal crime. Never physically resist. Fight it in court, not on the street. And know the warrant difference. An administrative warrant is not a judicial warrant. Only a judicial warrant authorizes entry into your home. Knowledge of the law does not put you above the law. It puts you under the protection of the law. That's exactly what the Constitution was designed to do. If this video helped you, share it with your family, your community, anyone who needs it. Subscribe to Legal Logic for real, practical legal breakdowns every week. And next week, what happens after you are detained? What ICE can legally do, what they cannot, and the one phrase that has secured releases for people who should not have been held. You'll want to be here for that one.